everybody. Welcome to the Fire It Up with CJ show. We've been talking about sex and conceiving with love with Denise Wiesner. And in the last couple segments, we've been talking about the five element lovers wheel. And specifically in segment two, we're talking about how intimacy comes into play just generally when we're making love and in a partnership, and how that could actually affect you conceiving a baby or just generally having an intimate relationship. And so we talked about five different elements. Let's start with wood. And so you said some of the problems with wood is asking for what you want. You may have low self-esteem. So where does one go from here? Like you meet a couple, the guy or the woman has an earth issue. How do you proceed?
Okay, so if we're going to talk about wood, we're going to talk about the liver energy, and that's like stuck energy, and we'll start here.
Well, I'm
Because
sorry, I said earth. Sorry.
we'll talk about liver. I love that
Okay.
we're you
Okay,
said
let's go wood.
for you, so we're going to just jump into the
Okay,
liver.
good. All right, let's
So
do.
I said it in my book, but they don't call it a woody for nothing.
Okay.
Anyway, uh, anyway, so the wood element, right? If you have a lot of stuck energy and you feel stuck and frustrated, which a lot of people do in their sort of their relationships and the world and sexuality, we have to shake this off, right? So like you're asking me, like we have to move energy, and the things that move energy. It's funny, like sexuality moves energy because you're like physical. And that
Mm,
really could be really a great antidote, more sex. But if you're not having more sex and you're too frustrated to do it, you have to find like exercise is good. Anything that has to do with movement. I mean, I do this Qigong shaking exercise where you just shake your body. It's like shaking everywhere and just try to
yeah,
shake it all off. Yeah.
right.
So that gets rid of stuck energy. And I think we have to do our own physical practice to shake off energy. But one of the things that couples can do, and this is something that's super important, is that the liver energy opens up to the eyes. So
Mm,
eye gazing. So one of the practices I will give my patients who are having a difficult time connecting is the eye gazing practice, where
mm,
you look at each other in the eyes for about 4 minutes.
mm,
Just simply eye gazing. And, we can elaborate on that, like where you put your hand on their heart, and they put their hand on your heart, or you hold hands. But it's the stopping and letting our eyes, which are windows to the soul, connect with our partner. And I've
mm,
seen like people have profound shifts just by slowing down and really seeing their partner. Yeah.
mm. Is this before you make love or just generally in life or
I
both?
you know what? There's a man that has written a book called Passionate Marriage who talks about eye gazing during lovemaking.
Mm,
So it's not always just. I mean, you could sort of say like in general, yes, it's like stopping and really seeing your partner could really provide a lot of intimacy. However, when you're about to make love, what if you opened your eyes a little bit and saw the person, like connected with their soul? Some people are really afraid and during lovemaking to even see their partner. It's like,
mm.
they go in, it's like a solo thing, like
Okay,
I'm just
got it.
solo. But it's like just a practice to try to
Right.
open my eyes a little bit. Look, it took me a time to feel comfortable opening my eyes. Like I was like, oh no, I don't want to see.
Right. No, I have the same thing. Well, and it's interesting because I have a lot of wood energy, and so I do a lot of yoga, and I whole like the whole shaking thing. The Osho has this kind of ecstatic dance, or you're like
Yes,
moving around and shaking your body. It's to kind of get that nervous, stuck, frustrated energy out of your system.
yes.
And I've always wondered though, is that weird to make love to someone if you're just trying to get your like negative, frustrated energy while you're making love, or is that the wrong attitude when you're making love to be releasing your negative energy or
Well, I mean, I think that, one of the things even about orgasm is that in that moment of orgasm, you aren't thinking about anything. It's a
mm,
moment, if two people are orgasming or one's having an orgasm or however it works for you, and you don't have to have an orgasm, but so much, you're flooded, like thinking brain turns off and you're flooded with those like feel good hormones. So in a way, lovemaking is, are you getting your frustration out? I mean, sometimes it moves energy. I mean, everything goes when you're talking about lovemaking. There's no
mm,
rules. Like
right.
sometimes we're frustrated when we have sex. Sometimes we're in love when we have sex. Sometimes we're not in the mood and we have sex anyway. I mean, there's no rules. It's a whole, like a spectrum, right? So
Right.
it's all good.
That's good. Okay, now let's talk about earth energy.
So earth energy is that center, right? Earth is like the center of our body, finding our connection. We talked about how it's like overwording and pleasing others is the sort of when you're just not trying, you have difficulty asking for what you want. So I think it's a really good practice for both men and women to not so much in the time of lovemaking, but maybe before. So I do a lot of sex coaching with couples where we talk about talking about lovemaking, because sometimes there's too much talking, and but if you don't communicate what you like, you never get what you like.
Right.
So right, so like if your partner, if you want lighter touch, then and your partner is touching you, with heavier touch, you can't say that, then maybe I have couples practice like touching exercises.
Mm,
Someone gave me the 3-minute game, which is that I'll have patients or couples for 3 minutes or maybe 10 minutes, just touch your partner how you want to touch your partner. And then after 3 minutes, touch your partner how they want you to touch them. So you get
mm,
to instruct your partner like, hey, I'd love you to like play with my hair. I'd love you to tug on my hair. It'd be great if you use your nails and went down me. Oh,
mm,
now I want some, I want you to do it lightly. And you get to
mm,
play around with touch exercises. And this is a great way to find out what we like. Some people don't even
right.
know what they like.
Right.
But instead of like asking, you get to see like, oh, like I've had couples do this together and they discovered like, oh, my partner likes his nipples played with, and I didn't know
Right.
that. He asked for it and he's never been able to ask for that.
Oh, so
And
it's
so
basically talking about it, and I think, I mean, for me at least, I can say I haven't experimented with enough. I don't know. Like maybe I would like to have my nose touch. Like I don't know. No one's ever touched my nose, or like something that you didn't expect, but that maybe you're like, wow, I actually really like that. I didn't realize. So it's
and
basic, yeah,
it's having fun. It's having fun and being the adventurer and being experimental. Because a lot
mm,
of couples will come to me and they don't even know what they like. Is exactly what
yeah.
you said. They just know because they've never experienced it.
Yeah,
And
there's
they
just
yeah.
yeah. Yeah, you see something on TV or you're like we like I've been with my partner for like since 1995. Like there's only like there's I haven't had that many partners and I've only been, I've been with my husband for so long time that you kind of like take for granted. You don't ask anymore. Like we have asked, but like not probably often enough and then you forget and all this. Okay. Anything else for self-esteem? Like, how would you? That's another thing for Earth.
Yeah, I think for earth element and self-esteem is really feeling good in your body. So, sometimes it's about taking care of your body. Like, people who eat crappy and feel bloated and have digestive problems, like you really have to nourish your body. And for fertility, you do too. For sex and fertility, you have to feel good about who you are.
Hmm.
Right. And some women never feel good about who they are, even when they're like their body's their best. Right.
Hmm.
I know personally, like I grew up in that genre of like, my body's never good enough. Like
Hmm.
I'm never thin enough. I don't like my stomach's never flat enough. Like it's this, childhood looking at these role models of who was beautiful, right. Never feeling I measured up. So, it's coming to the mirror and looking at myself and like trying to love myself exactly who I am, for
Yeah.
both men and women. That's a big one, right?
Yeah. Yeah. So it's like self love and loving your like I love how I look and like putting affirmations. It's all that work about body loving your body and doing those kinds of there's a
And
whole bunch of books and
yeah,
exercises
there's
related
so
to
much
that.
around that. I mean, but it's really loving your body and loving your body today. Not loving
Yes.
your body when it like right, loving your body in the future. When I've lost 20 pounds, then I'll feel like having sex more often. It's
Right.
like loving and feeling into your sort of sensual being right here, right now.
Yeah, it's funny because we were in some lecture, and I can't remember, but my husband was like, "Didn't you find that woman sexy?" I don't even know why. It was just a fear. It was like a political campaign. Like it was just a weird thing. But she was a heavier set woman, but she was just so confident in her body, and she owned it. And I think it's not necessarily if you're skinny, you have big breasts. I mean, it's like it's just about owning and being in your body, and that was just so interesting to see. And my only other comment is, I remember looking at my pictures when I was in my 40s and looking at my 30s. And then my 30s, I thought I didn't look so great. Now I look back, I'm like, I look great, Now I'm in my 50s. And I look at my pictures in my 40s, I'm like, I look great then. So it's basically just loving who you are at the moment because you look great who you are right at this moment. You look great. And you're going to look at pictures. In my 60s, I will look at my pictures now and go like, I look great. I don't know what he's complaining about. So I just think just enjoy who you are right now. It just continues. You'll continue to age over time. That seems like a depressing way. There must be another way that we can close it that's better. What would you say for people who are like, I'm too old, I'm like, that kind of thing?
I think we're never too old. And I think that it's this embracing. I mean, they say that like sex is happening right now in old age homes, like retirement homes, where there are STDs or STIs, infections, because like all the people are having sex seriously with each other. I mean, my
I
gynecologist
love it.
told me this.
I
Uh,
love it.
big part of his population. So you're never too old to really to have pleasure and
I
to
love that. I
right.
love that. Okay, so we've talked about the earth and wood element. In the next segment, let's talk about some of the other elements and how we kind of go to the next step. Thank you so much. We've been talking to Denise Wiesner about her book, Conceiving with Love. Thank you.
It means so much to me that you're listening to the show. Would love your support in any way by giving me comments below or to subscribe to the show or share the show with friends. Thank you again for your support. Love and blessings.